Do you hear that, Brad?
Oh yeah, survival. It's
Brad?
in this. Yeah. Okay.
It's your turn to get the bass and play Nothing But a Good Time. So, go.
Man, can we do that one next week?
All right, before we begin, let's thank our great sponsors, and we've got some good sponsors. Now, remember, if you would like to be a part of the process, I would love to have a conversation with you. Sponsoring the BPX, the Bailey Podcast Exchange, just reach out to me via jasonbailey.com. Let's start. Inspect All Pest Services. Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite, pest, and wildlife control. That's not all they do. Inspect All can take care of your insulation, your pressure washing, your gutter maintenance, and other home services. They're in the Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. InspectAllServices.com. Also, thanks to Inspect All Pest Services for sponsoring all of our guests on the BPX. The Mad Dog, Manny Aurora with the Aurora Law Firm, theauroralawfirm.com. Best damn defense attorney in the land. He litigates all over the United States, based out of Georgia. Criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. theauroralawfirm.com. And if you have a legal question for the Mad Dog when he visits the BS, please go to jasonbailey.com and get that to me now. It's Ridgeline Counseling with Dr. David Markwell. If you need help, get help. He's got 10 therapists who work with him there at Ridgeline Counseling, 3 different locations in the state of Georgia, one across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains, in East Cobb, Marietta right there near the square, and McKaysville outside of Blue Ridge. But if you're not in those areas and you still need help from the best in the business, that'd be Dr. David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling. He does virtual sessions, which are extremely helpful, and you can set that appointment up at markwelltherapy.com. Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia, family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer, offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators. And each and every one of you, 2 peers, when you become a customer, you get an upgraded warranty, free monitoring with a service contract, offering flexible financing, semi-annual and annual service contracts for existing installations and warranty repair. They have an A+ rating with the BBB, and you pay nothing until the job is complete, and you, the customer, are very, very happy. Call or request a free home assessment. You can go online, poweringgeorgia.com, or you can call 770-853-7571. Don't forget, use the discount code Bailey, and you get $500 off your entire installation. Servicing Georgia and Tennessee. MVP Walk-In Tub and Shower of Atlanta. Beautiful, affordable bathing solutions. MVP Walk-In Tub and Shower. They're a local family-owned and operated company committed to enhancing your bathroom experience in Metro Atlanta. They provide high-quality, safe, and affordable walk-in tubs and showers, focusing solely on installations that elevate your home's comfort and accessibility. They service all of Atlanta, Georgia. Like I said, family-owned and operated. No commission sales guys. There's no hassle when you deal with MVP Walk-In Tub and Shower of Atlanta. No high-pressure tactics. Go to their website and see the work that they're doing. Gen Xers, having them parents finally move in, and you're going to help them out, and you got to redo all that. Don't do it yourself. Go with the best in the business. These are the pros. MVPWalk-ins.com. Or you can call 404-493-6888. Mention the BPX, get $2,000 off. Again, mention the Bailey Podcast Exchange, BPX, or any of the shows, and you will receive $2,000 off from MVP Walk-In Tub and Shower of Atlanta. Alive Ozone Therapy Spa, Central Florida's first and only ozone therapy spa, administering ozone therapy or activated oxygen therapy non-invasively through what is called the Hocket sauna. Also offering red light therapy, halo therapy, pressotherapy, PEMF, as well as naturally in-house made ozone-infused products online, like that magnesium butter. AliveOzoneTherapySpa.com to book your appointment or to shop all of the products for Alive Ozone Therapy Spa, as well as the brand new Alive Ozone Therapy Spa app. If you are an Apple user, go into your app store and just search Alive Ozone Therapy Spa. If you're an Android user, search Alive Ozone Therapy Spa, order and book online. Again, if you are a business and you want the BPX, the Bailey Podcast Exchange, to help your brand, there's so much more than just advertising when it comes to this world. I'd like to have that conversation with you. Reach out to me, please, via jasonbailey.com, and let's chat. With that being said, let's begin.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. And that's some stories.
Yeah, let's do it. Welcome to the Vinyl Road Podcast.
All right, there it is, episode 25 of the Vinyl Road Podcast. It's a show about rock and roll, stories from the road, life, and everything in between. All on the BPX, that is the Bailey Podcast Exchange. 3 different shows, 5 days a week. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. There's the man himself, Mr. Brad Stewart. Hello, Brad.
Yeah, yay. What's up?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yay.
And our guest this week, one of my dear friends, I love him more than life itself. He is the guitarist for Bret Michaels' band. He's got his own band. He's got his line of candles. He's got his merchandise. He authored a book, MTV Famous, and he's just a hell of a good dude, Pete Evick. Pete, how are you, my friend?
I'm awesome today, buddy. Thank you for having me on, man.
You do have a lot going on, by the way.
I do. You know, even me and Bret were talking the other day. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're the hardest working guy I know," and what would you do if you didn't have to? And a lot of people, I'm not saying I don't love what I do. I love what I do, but give me the shot to take a break and I'll show you that I'd be glad to not be the hardest working man in the world. I've just been put in a situation where I live and my life choices have made it that I have to work this hard to keep going. You know what I mean? If the opportunity came for me to sit out in the desert and do nothing for about a month, I certainly would be glad to do it.
Well, I mean, you always worry about that, right? Fans don't understand that being a rock star, being a musician is a job. And right. Sometimes, you know, it's actually more riskier than most 9-to-5 jobs.
Well,
so,
it is. There's no security in any of it. You know, I talked to my friend Jeff Giuliano. I don't know if you guys know Jeff. Jeff is one of the most famous record mixers in the world. We grew up together in Virginia, and he started with Dave Matthews, moved on to John Mayer, and now like he's done all the Luke Bryan stuff. He has more Grammys and platinum records to his name. And it's fascinating. And we talk about there's no retirement plan in music, even for him who has hundreds of awards and stuff like that. You just have to keep going.
Brad, you can
Absolutely.
attest to that, right?
Yes, you do. Yeah, you need a side hustle to the
That's
side
right.
hustle.
That's right.
You need I sell real estate on the fucking side. I totally get it.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, man.
But
I got no candles though, man. Kind of intrigued by the candles thing.
Well, dude,
my friend Lindsay Manfredi from the band Cold has her soy candles that she sells at the merch table. Bought a couple of those, and they smell wonderful.
Yeah,
so, love the Cold folks.
I've got one of Pete's candles in my office. It's over here. He's got really, really good candle. How many stores do you have now?
I shut one of the stores down. I still have my store in Myrtle Beach and my store in Virginia.
Okay.
Brick and mortar retail open in the online business, and there's still probably about 15 or 20 stores around the country that retail stores that stock the stuff.
That's good. Shining Soul, by the way, Shining SOL.
I was up at 7:00 this morning and ran down to my shop making the stuff today. I started early so I could do this on time. So
thank you. So not only does he go out with Bret, who doesn't stop touring, but he then goes and he pours his own candles for Shining Soul. I mean, that's a beast. And then he's got merchandise that I saw up there that I like, by the way.
Yeah, you know, it's my new thing. It's called it's just Pete's Merch Shop. And I hate to say it because there's so many. I am an artist myself, but I've never been a graphic artist. I have all these visions in my hand, but I can't draw a stick figure. Right? And so I've embraced the AI because to me, it helps me get images from my head out without all my life. I have 3 or 4 of my buddies that I consider my closest friends, but they also probably throw darts at pictures of me in their room because they're artists and I rely on them for the 2 books I've written. Their book covers have been done, my album covers, just flyers, websites, anything I've ever had need a visual image of, I've had to call on someone else to do.
Brad, this would be a good time for me to probably bring up my AI theory that we haven't gotten to yet. You want to go there?
Let's fucking go, dude. Come on.
Because Brad hasn't heard this whole thing either. So this will be, I'll talk to 2 rock stars about it.
Hey,
because
before we do that, can I just jump in real quick? Yeah. Is Sebastian O'Barr still playing with you guys?
He is. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What a monster and what a wonderful human being and rock royalty. and his dad was such a good friend of mine. And I remember Sebastian being a little kid, and he's turned into just the coolest guy in the world. It's cool to play with him, don't you think, man?
Absolutely, man. And when Wayne was still alive, our guitar player Wayne Swinney had passed in 2000.
I mean, gigantic Saliva fan.
Oh, cool, man.
I don't mean to offend anyone, but me and Josie are really good friends. Like,
no offense to here, man. I just slapped the bass, bro.
Yeah,
So let me ask you then, and I'm not trying to stir anything up, but I mean, for those that have been on the internet, they've seen the social media stuff with Bret Michaels' band and Poison and whatnot. Yeah. And then the stuff with Saliva. So you guys kind of actually have something in common here.
Right.
As far as the social media back and forth go, when I've always said everything can be solved with beer and pizza. So if you're good friends with Josie and I like Josie too. I mean, I remember when they launched the band from the radio side, I've always been a huge fan. Like, do you see where he's coming from as far as saying, hey, look, this is my band, even though he left the band, time has gone on. The documents have been documented. Wayne left the band to Bobby. So, all that lawyer stuff, like for him to speak out and say the things, how do you talk to him if you were a friend and say, hey, dude, yes, you're good, or no, maybe slow down?
Just be 100% honest with you. Me and Josie have never spoke about the politics of Saliva. The only time, and forgive me for what I'm about to say, please forgive me if this gets weird, is the only time we've ever mentioned that there are even two different bands out there playing the music was you guys played with us in Ocean City at the Boardwalk Boardwalk Rock, and I wasn't aware, and I called Josie, and I thought it was him, and I said, are you here today? And he goes, where? I said, Ocean City, Maryland. He goes, oh, no, that's not me. And about 5 minutes after that, Sebastian walked by, and I went, oh, man. I didn't, but other than me running my mouth last week and getting in all that crap, I try to stay out of that stuff. I don't ask a lot of questions to a lot of people. Early on in my career, I asked a lot of questions to my brothers in Warrant about Janie Lane, and they don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that you don't want to talk about this riff, and I don't think Josie wants to talk about the riff, and Bret doesn't want to talk about the things that happened last week, and someone does, but we're not going to mention his name. But I've never once.
By the way, side note, I don't think you ran your mouth. I thought, like, I know you. I've known you for a long time, and for people that don't understand, like, I don't want to name names, obviously, but there's members of the band Poison, and there's talk of a Poison tour, and there was a social media back and forth between a certain person and Pete. And Pete's a lover of music. Like, you love music and you're a protector of Bret. And you just thought that there had been a misunderstanding, and I thought you addressed it extremely well. Like, you didn't even come across with your chest out high.
No, not at all. No, because at the end of the day, the one comment I had no business saying was that someone gets paid more than someone else. I had no business saying that. That comment stems from, Jason, I think you and me talked about this 6 months, 8 months ago. We went back and forth, almost the same conversation. And I made that same statement back then. I in that first round of arguments between me and the other party, I said the exact same thing I said last week. But this is where we segue into what I think maybe you were going to talk to. The AI news generators weren't doing what they're doing 8 months ago. And the way the buzz was created over what happened last week, just because of AI regurgitating it, was mind-blowing to me. That's the lesson I learned in all of this, but I appreciate what you're saying. I don't think I said anything wrong. But perception is everything. Perception is everything.
Mhm.
That's what went down. Even it was stated that the original comment made by the other guy, he went on another podcast and he said, if me and Pete would have been face to face and I would have said that, he would have seen and read something to the effect of it would have been taken different because you would have heard my voice and know that I was just known that he was just joking. And then I went back and read the comment and I did hear his voice and I could hear the joke and the laugh and the grin in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I did get defensive. I didn't poke my chest out, but I did get defensive. And it's all, unfortunately, it's because I'm very protective of Bret. And there's a lot of people that would just say things like he goes out with the solo band to make more money, and that's where I get defensive. I've said this a million times. I'm on a pension plan. I have health insurance. Bret doesn't just stop at an ATM and pay the band their money at the end of the night. It's a corporation and a business, and we are taken care of. And even though that's not the topic that was at hand, that's the demon that gets in my head when I hear some of those things. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what caused me to do everything I did. And I know better, man. I should just kept my mouth shut. But
it brings it to, it's good. It's good for business. That's what I told Brad, right?
Right.
It's good, talk about it, get it out. It's good for business. It puts eyes and ears on the product. That's my specialty, right? It's
No, I'm with you. We just went on for 15 minutes and Brad hadn't said a word. I didn't mean.
I'm just taking it all in, brother. Now you're our guest, man. Sam,
Yeah.
This is your platform, just like ours. You're welcome here anytime, bro.
I hear you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. For us, the whole Josie thing was tough because of some of the timing, and some of the just the legality, and then quite recently there's been diss tracks back and forth, and I mean, yes, like Jason was saying, it does keep people are paying attention to it, and then people take sides and people say what they're going to say, and it's the internet, it's socials, and it is what it is. And for us, I mean, none of that's stopping what we're doing moving forward. I mean,
that's the point.
You know what I mean? It's not going to stop us what some kid says in Memphis or wherever and about the band, because his perception of it is like what Jason was saying, that it is his band and it's his name. Well, if that was the case, he would own the brand and he would still be doing it under the name Saliva. But when he walked away from that, we've been over this. He left. He forfeited his rights, to the brand. So when something like that happens, now you can't just come back 10 years later after everyone else that was still around that needed to still be in the band, that had kept it alive and kept value to the brand and to the name and kept putting out new music. And then you walk back in when you're ready to come back 10 years later or whatever it is and take it back. I mean, even the trademark office didn't agree with that. They didn't side with him. It just wasn't how, it's not how the business works and how the contracts work. So, he's put out some new music. He sounds good on his music. The last couple songs they put out, I'm like, good for him for, finally putting some new stuff out. Even though it's dissing what we're doing, at least he put something out that's new and it sounds like Josie, and that, sonically it was produced well, and the recording sounds good and everything. So I mean,
I think the stuff sounds great.
Man.
It's interesting though, is we're all musicians, and at this point, every single one of us, from Sammy Hagar down to the local guy, we're all very lucky that the industry has changed. We don't even know how to navigate the industry from day to day. Any of us. I mean, if you think different than that, I'd love to hear what you know that I don't know. But that any of us are able to be out there and play, and anyone has any interest at all is a fucking gift right now. But you said, both of you guys said something that the fans and humans in general like to take sides. That's what football's about. That's what soccer sports is about. People like to take sides, and most of us musicians don't want any of that. Like I don't, you know, Van Halen's my favorite band in the world, and I always say I don't like. I wouldn't last 10 years that Van Halen was together. I wouldn't even go see him in my local area because I didn't want to be standing there and some guy I know come up and go, "Oh, Dave sucks. Oh, what?" Or Dave's better than Sammy. I wanted to watch the show. I don't want to hear that conversation. Those guys lived with that till Eddie's fucking death. In the music business, that stuff just never. That take sides thing never goes away, you know. And Josie was one of those very fortunate guys. You have to agree with me on this. And if I'm putting you in a weird position, I'm sorry, but Josie was one of those few guys in that era that did become a name that people knew. In the 80s, everyone knew Vince Neil and everybody knew Bret Michaels and everyone knew David Lee Roth. In that later, in the 2000s and all that stuff, it became band names and you knew a Fred Durst or something like that, but it was a little more nameless. But you knew Josie Scott's name, which provides him with the ability for whatever path he's taken, he's able to go out there and make music under his own name. So everybody's lucky. Everybody's.
I think that for Josie was, I think you can credit Chad Kroeger from Nickelback for that, because when Hero came out,
that's right.
It was featuring Josie Scott.
That's right. Do you guys play Hero in your set?
We don't, man. We've done it before. I would join Bobby and Wayne. We do like an acoustic tour. We do acoustic tours like in the off season, and we would play it, in that kind of a setting. But we don't play it in the set. No, I mean, it's a great song, great track. There's some drama around that one too, between the two of them, but we don't have to go into that. It's all this drama, man,
Yeah. But it's also a tricky song, well-written song, without a doubt.
Great song. Oh yeah. Amazing song,
Let's move on from me and Brad pissing our bandmates off.
Going back to I want to say this because I've always said this about polarization and unity. Polarization, I mean, this is what country, politics, religion is all based off of, in my opinion. Polarization builds strong unity. And when you can separate a group of people and unify them in a sect, you create unity. And you do that by polarization. I mean, you and I, when not so much maybe when we're on mic, but when you and I are together, we like to have these kind of conversations. So I've always thought that, and it's a mind F. As far as if you can split a group of people and do it. Now, I think if you are able to learn the trick of the trade and utilize it to benefit your brand, as politics does, as religion does, so on and so forth. Great example, the 90s, the rap world, they were phenomenal at it. I mean, these were all made up beefs, but it sold magazines. Yes, magazines. It sold magazines.
It's football. People like sides, man. People like their team.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And they get very, very passionate about the side too. They really do. Even with music, and even though the sort of the battle back and forth, it did seem more like a rapper situation, back in the day. But for it to be in the rock world, it was kind of like, well, this is kind of different, man. Like most of the time, rock bands aren't going back and forth against each other for whatever reason. Some guys will. I think Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse.
Well, you think
is really good at that, but he speaks his mind, dude. And if you're in his way, if you fucking, at least he has the nuts to fucking say what's on his mind and not censor himself. I mean, I got to give him props for that.
Think about. I mean, you could probably name off, at least while we've been alive, the biggest rock beefs that we know of. There's only been a few, right? I mean, probably the latest would be Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro. Right. You had Marilyn Manson and was it Johnny Five?
John Five. Yeah.
John Five.
Mm-hmm.
You had Brett and Bobby, back at that.
You're talking about physical confrontations.
No, well, I'm talking about beefs that spilled out, on stage to where everybody saw it. I mean, there's obviously been stuff behind the scenes, Guns N' Roses. I mean, so, but that was manifested by lawyers and he said, she said, and managers, and I mean, Fame. You guys have both been at the top of the heap and seen it with your own two eyes of how things can be manifested without it actually being said between two parties. It could be done by managers and lawyers, correct?
Yeah. And now it can be done by AI.
And now be done by AI, right? I mean, that's crazy that you said that. I didn't even think about, the AI algorithms doing, gravitating onto, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it works. I'm not that smart. So maybe gravitating onto the likes, the shares, the comments.
And then there's all these, they're AI generated news outlets. They're not even real news outlets. You've got to see this stuff, and they pick up anything that's getting clicks. And all of us saw what was going on with me last week because that's our world. But I thought I went deep thinking about this AI thing last week. If those bots are just reaching out to any genre, any culture, any art form, any specific concept, and they find a bit of news, you know what it's like to generate money on social media. You know what it is. So if these bots, whoever's running the bots, there's got to be a human behind it somewhere. If this AI news outlet is doing 100 of those a day and getting the attention that the stuff that happened to me last week got, they're raking it in.
I got to tell you, dude, maybe there's a guy behind a guy somewhere, in a back office, but I just dipped my toe into the AI stuff for Alive, Ozone Therapy Spa, my business.
Yeah.
And it's trippy, dude. How
this is where this all started. You were about to talk about AI and
so anyway, but the bot stuff that you're talking about, it learns, on its own. It's trippy. Like people go to our website, they ask questions, and it continuously learns. We're getting ready to add an AI receptionist, and we're after our daughter Ariel, and it actually sounds like her. And you talk like, I'm usually anti this stuff because I hate customer service and voice, but for us, it's very simplistic. And it saves us from hiring a third person. Oh my God, it's trippy.
So in my Myrtle Beach store is the company that owns the building is a big company in the South that owns lots of properties. And for a couple of weeks, a couple days, I was going back and forth with this email about some information they needed on my insurance policy. Right.
Mm.
And eventually I asked a question, and then the phone rang, and they were like, "Oh, that's an AI assistant you're talking to."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So even though it was email, it felt organic and human.
Yeah, it's scary. Here's my
That's
AI.
The future, man.
Okay. So here's my AI theory. It's very simple. That within the next 3 to 5 years, and this is just strictly for the music business, that there will be a very large percent of people crediting creators versus artists or bands. I want to, dude, have you heard the new Apples on My Head song by Shopping Cart Girl 493? And there's an app called Banger where you can go and make your own AI music. There's actually a band.
There's one called Suno. That's the one everyone's using, is Suno or something.
Suno. There's a AI generated Walk My Way by Breaking Rust that has topped the charts. There's AI music, AI generated music, no human involvement within the band, that is topping the charts.
Yeah.
Just put that into perspective. Just think how difficult it is, as you both guys know, to be on the charts, whether it's 150, 25, 10, 3, whatever. Just to be on a chart is a huge, huge milestone.
And now we're competing with robots.
Right.
One of those spots, as of right now, has been taken by AI. If you put it in that perspective, that's scary, dude. That's
same thing's been happening though, like in movies and stuff. I mean, think of all the, the like even when George Lucas fucked up Star Wars and he started putting like those prequels out. I was like, these are fucking computer generated robots fighting other computer generated robots.
Right.
I can't deal with this shit. I need fucking humans in there, like like real people. Like this has been kind of going on, but more like, and of course these visionaries like Lucas, now they have the tools to actually create and have their visions come to life and not have to use, like some painting behind the ship in the foreground and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now they can do it, but it's still, to me, I see through it. With the music thing, I guess people don't see through it with it being robots. I don't know, man. And from what I heard, people, if you put one against the other, they'll choose the robot.
So,
which is fucking weird, man. To me, I don't know. That's just not good.
Brad, are you a songwriter? Do you write?
I do. I have a publishing deal with Sony ATV, formerly EMI. I got 24 years ago. I co-wrote the song Control by Puddle of Mud, along with a bunch of stuff in the Shinedown catalog. And we, with Fuel, I put records out with Fuel and of course, Saliva too. But I'm more the music guy. I'm not as much the lyric guy. I do write lyrics. None of my lyric written, none of my songs, my lyrics have become hits. But my music involved, my involvement musically, I've had a couple of hits, thank God.
I asked you your songwriter because I'm going to say this. In my head, I have something powerful to say, but I don't know that I'm going to get my point is going to hit correctly. There's all these people that say what you just said, Jason. Oh, it's scary. It's scary. A good song is still a good song. No one's telling us as humans to stop writing music. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people think, oh, it's over, we might as well just quit. No one's telling us that. If you could just be better, just write better. The AI songs, the unfortunate thing is you don't listen to that song and go, oh, that song sucks. The unfortunate problem is it's putting out, as a producer, from country to new metal, there's a certain sound to it all that all sounds the same to me. I hear that. You hear that too, I'm sure. But as a song, a person just wants to hear a good song no matter who wrote it. If you reverse engineered this and went back and found out that a group of orangutans or a group of chimpanzees in the jungle figured out how to make music and somehow wrote something we all liked, even though that's I'm going the opposite direction, I'm still going in a different direction. If we all loved it, we loved it. So I'm not afraid of AI that way because it's not telling me, it's not making me a worse writer. It's not telling me not to write music. And a lot of people are forgetting that. I'm still allowed to wake up and write a song. And if I finally write his song one day, good for me.
Just to make it clear, like when I say that and I say it's scary because there's the competition and the competition isn't it's not human intelligence that when you have that extra competition. So like from the radio side of thing, even though I think my full-time radio days are over, that's an industry that will be dominated by AI without a doubt. And all these radio people can fight it as much as they want.
That's different though, Jason, because that's a job. As a songs are art, because almost every industry in the world is about to be replaced. Have you guys gone through a fucking fast food drive-through yet? That's all AI.
That, and if you go into a mall and seen the boxes that will tell you if you're going to die of cancer or not.
I've not seen that.
Those are crazy. So Mark Cuban said something about AI the other day, and he's like, relax, people. It's just like when computers came into our lives. Remember when computers came into our lives, we all freaked out. All of our jobs are going to be taken by computers, blah, blah, blah. What did we do? We adapted and learned to work with computers to make our jobs easier and better. Did they take jobs? Absolutely. But it also built other jobs.
That's right. That's right.
So you have to find a way to use that technique. And I agree that I use AI for the podcast stuff, for voiceover work, I'm learning to do it in the video world and stuff. So I think it's definitely cool it's just, I'm talking about from your guys' standpoint. I don't care about radio standpoint because that world is passing
by. The thing about AI though, or really think about songwriting in general, think about how much the value of a song has been decreased over time because of the platforms paying out very little to those writers. So we've almost been phased out anyway, if you get what I'm saying. And a lot of times, it's like there's a few people writing all the songs. Like you go to Nashville and there's a handful of people and they've written every fucking song you've heard and you're like, wow, them again? That's pretty impressive. But if you're like if you're on like the blue collar, like the everyday side of that equation, we've already been kind of phased out anyway. So and especially with Spotify and radio not being what it was. Used to when you get a hit song on the radio, man, you'd see some checks coming in, bro. That's It was audience and it was fucking, you got paid well, right? So like now you don't. I mean, you think a Lady Gaga or someone that huge that puts out a song, gets billions of streams, she gets a check for 30 grand. She's like, fuck this. That's bullshit right there. I mean, but
what you said though, I was actually going to say something similar to what you said. To me, the AI music writing is just, the next step in the Nashville machine. That Nashville machine is what you just said. They might as well be a bunch of robots. That was hard for me to comprehend how they were just pumping hits out. And then it became, this is the only place we're going to go to get hits. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the AI thing is nothing but a new version of the Nashville machine to me. So
I agree.
Let me ask some, Pete, being around Bret all these years and all of the hit songs that he's put out with Poison, right? Even his solo stuff. I'm a Bret fan, obviously. I mean, my loyalty to Bret Michaels. Yeah. But, have you ever talked to any artist, Bret or anyone else, that's produced a huge song and a lyric in that song that's kind of stuck with you that you've asked, like, what's the story behind it? And gotten the answer?
Because I'm such a songwriter and a lyricist myself, that's one of my main points of topics with any artist I ever talk to. I've had those conversations with Josie before. I'm not sure what exactly you're asking. Are you asking, do I ask Bret what Every Rose meant lyrically?
Like you go listen to my favorite song on the radio. Like what were you thinking at that time? What was that song? You didn't mention it, but what was the song?
Right. Yeah. It's funny. Our drummer Mary asks him that question all the time, and she just thinks that's the funniest joke in the world.
What was his favorite song on the radio?
Yeah. I've never asked him that specific question, and he won't answer Mary when he keeps the mystery going. But I ask questions about the songs to him all the time. Cry Tough. I always talk to him about Cry Tough because it's such one of my favorite songs. Back to the Rocking Horse, because when I was a kid, there was rumor that the song Back to the Rocking Horse was written about a bar called the Rocking Horse that he used to play in Pennsylvania. So a lot of times I'll ask artists, hey, I heard this. What's the true story behind the song? That's one of my favorite topics in the world.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would love to sit down with the guys from Warrant and ask about Heaven. Oh my God. That's one of my favorite. Brad and I joke about, I'm serious. Brad doesn't take me seriously, but Heaven, in my opinion, is one of the best lyrical rock songs of all time. I love Heaven.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Janie Lane was a supernatural wordsmith for that genre. He was able to say things that no one else was able to say in ways. And so to the point, when Janie was alive, there is a song on the Dog Eat Dog record called April 2031.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason, you probably know, Brad, you wouldn't know this, but I am a conspiracy theorist to the end.
So am I. We go get along good, brother. It's all good.
Brad.
I have an incredible. I was my parents. I was born in 1972, and my parents exposed me to everything. They just didn't turn the news off. They didn't keep me out of conversations. And I became so frightened of nuclear war, and that I had to seek therapy in elementary school because I thought the world was ending every fucking day. And then, Jason, I don't know if you remember when the Ukraine war started, I re-recorded a cover of 99 Red Balloons.
Mhm.
And all those wounds opened up again, and I'm still having that problem today. I'm working at about 50% of my normal capacity because I spend the rest of the day convinced uh, that we're really at the brink of nuclear war, and I'm consumed by it. It's causing me all kinds of problems. But anyway, here's my point. So the song April 2031 from Warrant is this post-apocalyptic song with all these incredible, he paints this incredible picture. There used to be a wind that wasn't caused by fans. I wonder how it would have felt in my hair. And the nuclear ring around the moon was caused by man. If it was, then it's much too late to care. There's 3 verses of this. He painted this post a lot. But anyway, and I was a kid opening up for Warrant, and I sat down with Janie. He was nice enough to talk to me, and I'll never forget. I said, Janie, what was your inspiration for April 2031? And he looked at me and goes, oh, I just made that up. It was just a story I made up. And part of me was relieved to find out that he wasn't some prophet seeing visions of the future. That you know what I mean? Part of me was like, oh man, I was hoping it was a little bit more meaningful than that. But to be a good lyricist, the one thing I have learned in my life is you have to be a storyteller, right? For half of my life, I kept trying to write songs that were just true because I bought into the Bon Jovi Jersey thing, and I bought into the Bruce Springsteen and the John Mellencamp stuff hardcore. I loved what was considered these storytelling stories that I was convinced were real stuff that happened to them. And then you go and you find out, this was just a couple of years ago, there was this this Bruce Springsteen special where he's on Broadway telling stories and singing the songs. I don't know if you guys seen this. And he tells everyone that when he wrote Born to Run, he didn't even have a driver's license. He'd never driven a car in his life.
Mhm.
And he thinks it's funny when he tells the story. But that moment I went, oh man, it's not about writing a biography. It's about telling stories. And that changed my perspective of it. But yes, I ask that question to everybody about everything. Any songwriter I meet, I dig in hard.
Yeah. Some of the music, maybe this is just my age speaking, but I was having this conversation with myself the other night. I was like, I can't think of a song in recent years, and it's just maybe I haven't heard it, but probably that's the case, that is set with me. Hey, buddy.
There's a pooch.
Set with me like any song that I had heard in the 80s or 90s. I mean, Brad, you grew up a grunge guy, but made a living as an active rock guy. And Brent and the lyrics in Shinedown were great, but let's be honest, were they as deep and storytelling-esque as anything from the 90s, like from Soundgarden or Alice in Chains?
I mean, like you think of like Rooster by Alice in Chains, and you have Jerry Cantrell talking about his father being in a situation where he's in Vietnam, and they're trying to kill him, of course, and Jerry wasn't there, but he knows from his dad, and he kind of put himself in that situation of being shot at, and then trying to kill him. And, of course, his dad survived and had a lot of post-traumatic stress from that. But that's a great story, and it's really hard hitting, especially to people that have been in those situations. You know what I mean? If you're a veteran, Brent wrote some great stories too. It wasn't probably as, I don't know, like Lost in the Crowd. There's some great songs. And I kind of wonder, like, damn, bro, who was that about? Like, because I knew the guy early on. I'm like, fuck, man. But he would just come up with these situations and these stories, sometimes about a girl or about, just about his own experiences, his own childhood stuff, But I mean, I don't know if it had as big of an impact as songs like from back in that era. But I mean, he I think they got 21 hits at this point.
Yeah.
I
Were you
guess,
saying-
I think he's doing okay.
What are you saying, Pete?
You're talking about the fuel. You're talking about Brett Scallions.
I was in Shinedown for the first 2 records. So Brent
Oh.
Smith. Yeah.
I'm
yes.
sorry, 'cause I was just gonna say Shimmer and Hemorrhage and Bittersweet and Bad Day. Those were great stories.
Great fucking song. Yeah. Yes.
And
Absolutely.
that Shinedown stuff is fucking great, man.
Yeah.
That's the wow. That great lyricist. It's so it's funny. Another guy I did ask as a whole one time is Don Dokken. Me and Don were sitting around one day, and if you ever listen to every single Dokken song is She Did Me Wrong. It's a bad the girl did me wrong. We broke up. We're never just any one of those songs. Listen to I'm Alone Again Without You. In My Dreams, It's Still the Same. All of it. And one day he was on tour with us, and I said, Don, I need to know, are all 3 of those records about the same girl, or do you just have the worst fucking luck in the world? You know what I mean? And he just said it was just a topic he was able to write about, that it wasn't, that some of them may be real, but it's just stories you tell. You know,
I asked one time to Meatloaf when he was alive. I said, "What can't you do? You know, you can do anything for love, but I won't do that." Like,
right.
I said, what is that? And he goes, Buckethead, I'm not answering, in a joke. Buckethead, I'm not answering that. I can't give away what that is. And it was a funny radio moment for me.
Yeah.
I love Meatloaf was my first piece of music that I had ever purchased at Hutzler's in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Bat Out of Hell, white creamish 8-track.
You were born in Glen Burnie?
I was born in Severna Park.
That's right. I knew you were from Maryland, but I don't know why I don't remember.
Yeah. So I'm going in, and I'm like 8 years old at the time, I think, give or take. And my brother's 10 years older, and he's a rock guy, Maiden, Zebra, Aerosmith, Van Halen, all that stuff. And
Zebra, man, how did that get in that last list of anyway, keep going. Sorry.
My fucking 23-year-old son band opened for Zebra 3 times last year.
No shit. Okay. Maybe they're still relevant. I don't know.
I just always remember Zebra being in there.
That's fucking funny, dude.
And so I see this piece of, it's the artwork that got me. I had no idea who he was or what the music was, but it had a skull on it, and skull equaled rock and roll. It would equal tough. So I bought that. And then I get that, years later, talk to Meatloaf and ask him what that was, obviously the later album, but that was, he never answered me, so that was my lyric that, and I do want to know the song from Every Rose. What was your favorite song on the radio? So next time I see him, and which, by the way, you guys are you announced not that long ago.
Yeah, we're coming down with Tesla for 3 days in a row.
That's pretty cool. Pompano Beach,
Florida. Yeah, I was going to say.
We're doing 3 days.
March 6th, Clearwater, March 7th, the Bay Care Sound, and then March 8th, Brad, if you're available, we can go to the St. Augustine Amphitheater. That's kind of between you and I.
Have you ever been to that? Either of you two been
Love
to
it.
that?
Yeah, it's great. The amp's great, man.
What a cool place to be, man. I like that place a lot.
St. Augustine in general is, we go down there quite a bit. It's far enough away to get away, and it's a cool town, great food, and just good vibes and shit, man.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, been to the amp many times.
How old were you when you left Maryland?
I was 11 years old.
Okay, so you never experienced the rock scene. You didn't go to Hammer Jacks or any of that stuff.
No. I was a kid.
It occurred to me, I was starting to wonder if there was ever a time we were at the same shows together or something, but you were gone before that.
Yeah, I was totally gone. I was, I was always an 80s rock guy. And then I always tell the story of the last piece of that genre of music that I bought was the Steelheart album. And I still love Steelheart to this day. And then at the record store, there was, you walked in, I think it was like a Camelot or something. And there was
Camelot. Yeah.
There's a Steelheart display, and it was kind of being taken down. and then there was a Soul Asylum and Bush Display. Like there was something that there's two different genres of music. And as a senior, junior and senior in high school, the freshmen that were coming in, I'd become friends with a lot of them, and they were introducing me to this whole new style of music that I wasn't, accustomed to, like, Spin Doctors and James and these,
Right.
these alt bands. And I'm like, that's not AC/DC. That's not Poison. They're like, dude, nobody listens to that anymore. It's Pearl Jam. And that's when I fell in love with Pearl Jam and Nirvana and all the grunge stuff. But that then goes into college, and then, you talk about Dave Matthews, South African guy, Virginia Beach roots.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, Dave Matthews was the godfather of college indie rock.
So I think I've told you the story before. Being here in Virginia, even before Dave broke, he changed the face of what was happening in Virginia. As he started to grow in his popularity just in Charlottesville, Virginia, not Virginia Beach, Charlottesville, but he would come up this way to play the George Mason University area. And even before the song was a hit, he had such an impact on what was happening here in Virginia that we all had to just put our electric guitars away. It was, if you were gonna do anything, you had to have an acoustic guitar, and there was my good friend Edwin McCain was from South Carolina, and Hootie was from North Carolina, and all three of these bands were playing this circuit. I have a video of me in high school, or just out of high school, on a bill with Dave Matthews, Hootie, and my band played, and we were still a 80s rock band, but they were on the circuit too. It was a club called the Bayou in Washington, D.C. But it was like, he wasn't even a star yet, but everyone was like, that Dave Matthews guy? You got to play stuff like that. He got an acoustic guitar. It changed the map in the state of Virginia. It was crazy, his impact. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, that whole run of Hootie, their home base is 5 Points, South Carolina. You know? And so I was in school in North Carolina at the time, and they would play, before Hold My Hand blew up, they would play some of these different places. You can go by Hoot or Fish and all these different names. And Brad and I have had this conversation before, that early 90s college rock scene, some bands that never got the attention I thought they should have got. A band out of Colorado called the Samples, and the Scabs out of Austin, Texas.
Right.
These were, that was more of a ska band, but they were just really cool bands during that time. And those were my college years. We're all about the same age. So it's always interesting to talk about the different genres of music. Even Brad, like when, you got that first success with Control, with Puddle, and then into Shinedown, and not that Shinedown had instant success, but you could see, and that was, in my opinion, the last rock revolution as far as radio goes. You could see it. You could feel it, right? When you guys toured. You guys toured a lot. You guys, Bret Michaels toured. Like, you toured a lot.
We did early on, and it was anything we could do to break the band. Atlantic, we had a powerful manager, same manager, of course, Bill McGathy, but Atlantic Records wasn't exactly on board right away. They gave us about two pieces to the puzzle, to the pie, right? We had radio and touring. That was it. They're like, go ahead, go out there and make you some fans. Y'all don't have any. So good luck. And, and so Bill would put us with Three Doors. And so I think we did over 400 shows in a couple of years on that first record, Leave a Whisper, man. And that kind of included, because a lot of times we go to the radio station and we do an acoustic show before our set, so we, or we do it twice or two different radio stations, whatever. But you could definitely feel it was all the S bands, right? It was Seether and Seven Dust and Shinedown. And all these S bands, of course STP and Soundgarden, they had already had their run at it, but there was like a new movement of bands, and it definitely the early 2000s. I felt like you said, but remember, this is when MySpace was coming out, right? So before, everyone was like kind of relying on terrestrial radio, like the gatekeepers, to get your music out there. If you're a radio friendly rock band, you had to be on the radio, right? Next thing you know, though, here comes something called MySpace, and kids are going to this, which it was so poorly designed, right? You go on there, and most people had shitty internet, so it it would just take the page so long to build, and then fuck,
one
here's the
here,
song
one
finally.
there.
It was like fucking Minecraft looking shit, like
Yeah.
So I think then I think Shinedown was one of the last bands that went through the traditional record company system, and we recorded in the big studios on the first couple records. We're at Henson. In fact, the first time I met Bret Michaels was at Henson Studios, right? Poison was there. This was 2002. We were with Bob Marlette, and we were in studio, I guess it was Studio D. Now, of course, Henson was the studio, used to be called A&M, where We Are the World was recorded, Studio A, right? So just to set that up, I think Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking was done in D, where we were at. So anyhow, Bret and the fellas from Poison were in there, and they're barbecuing. They're grilling food outside the studio, and I literally walk up to him, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm Brad Stewart. Like, nice to meet you." Looks me dead in the eyes, shakes my hand. Good to meet. Like, total genuine dude. Like totally nice guy, right? And then he's like, "Yeah, I tell him who we are." And he's like, "We're actually doing some recording. We did." So he took us into, I guess they were in like B room or whatever, and he played a squeeze box. I guess they had done Squeeze Box by The Who. They had covered, and then they had another song or two, and he literally didn't know us from anywhere, like brings us in, super cool to us. Meanwhile, Cece's on the couch. I don't know what he was doing. And then no one was like hanging out. The band was in completely different areas of the area of the studio and stuff. But I'll never forget that, man. And I mentioned it to him when we played with you guys in American Airlines arena there in Dallas with Cowboy Mouth, and you were in the band. And he didn't remember, but he was still he handled it really well. And anyone that knows Bret, I don't know him that well, but I know we've talked about him quite a bit. He handles situations like that really well. He could have been in politics, bro. But he's such a good dude, though. Like, again, when I saw him again, we of course waited for the hundreds of people to go through the line to meet him and go on the bus. And that's when Vinnie Paul had come out too. And so we go and hang out with him. But again, shakes my hand. Right. I mean, like, the dude was like total. He wasn't like, when's this going to end? Like, you guys get off. He was totally like solid person, man. Yeah, he was cool. He didn't big time us at all. I mean, he was cool, man.
He does remember almost everything, though. It's fascinating when I could go on and on about that. Am I allowed to ask Brad how old you are?
I'll be 51 tomorrow, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was born I graduated in 92, born in 74.
Happy birthday.
You live in Jacksonville?
Born and raised, yes, sir.
So I always have to ask anybody with any ties to Florida. It's not about Jacksonville, but if you were a musician, I spent an enormous amount of my time in my life playing in Panama City, Florida. Did you ever make your way over that way?
Oh, yeah.
I used to play Club La Vila all the time.
We still do. Yeah, we still play Club La Vila. Yeah.
Yeah. so that was and Jason, didn't you work down there too?
No, I never. Orlando, Tampa, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Those are the only markets I've been in.
Yeah, I actually have a song I wrote before I joined Bret's band called Thomas Drive that was written about all the things that go on down there.
Yeah.
What a good place to experience the fun of rock and roll at that level. It's no place like that in the entire world.
Isn't it interesting how different sounds come from different parts of the country? Like, if you look at, I mean, if you go to each state and you were to go and say, what's the biggest band from each state? I mean, obviously there's going to be a debate. Florida, I don't know. Do you give it to Skinner, or do you get Tom Petty? Never really gets credit for being
I never considered Petty from Florida. I always forget.
Gainesville, yeah.
Yeah,
man. Think about Limp Bizkit, though, or Creed. I mean, those are kind of hard to beat for newer bands. I mean, of course, 38 Special sold some records too, man. Like Skinner, I mean,
But you look at the sound, right? I mean, take Creed, for example. That sound that came out of Orlando was that you had Seven Mary 3, you had Creed.
I got to stop you because we take claim to Seven Mary 3 here in Virginia. So
because Jason went to William and Mary.
Creed was by way of Tallahassee too, though.
And
right?
but you also
Not 703. That was Creed. Creed was way of Tallahassee.
That's what I said. Creed was by way of
He's talking
Tallahassee.
about 703.
Yeah,
So
they're a Virginia band? I thought they were from
no,
Florida.
no. Their
That's
album
because
is
Steve-O
called-
broke them on the radio down here,
No,
right?
their album is called Orange Avenue.
I get that. But you just said it. One of them went to the college.
Jason, the lead singer. He's a Sigma Chi. We're fraternity brothers.
Yeah, so we were always taught they were a Virginia band.
But Casey and everybody else, I mean, like,
Hey, you also, I mean, you're talking about the Orlando sound. I mean, Matchbox 20. I mean,
right. That's what my next one, you know, and
that's a big one.
and Rob Thomas's band before that, Tabitha's Secret. But you take that sound in that small period of time, right, and go, how did that sound, which all kind of similar in a way, came from Orlando, which has never been known to have this huge music scene. Why and how? And then you compare it to like the Seattle scene or the LA scene in the 80s. It's like, how do all these bands have a similar sound from the same place?
Well, they all become influenced because they start playing with each other. You know what I mean? Like it's that a music scene is ancestral. Until a band breaks, everybody's been in everybody's band. You know, for a while, and there becomes, you know, it starts from the very beginning. It starts from guitar teachers and drum teachers in music stores putting their influence on you as a child, and whatever style is happening in that area. I think, you know,
sometimes the scene comes to you too, though. Butch Vig produced Smashing Pumpkins out of Chicago, but they came up they were lumped into the grunge thing. Or were they grunge? Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, it was the era, but he also produced Nirvana and Garbage. I mean, Butch Vig was fucking big time shit. But like I said, the scene kind of came to them. Kind of, you know what I'm saying? What's that?
Yeah,
he's
like
an Atlanta guy.
STP was from Atlanta. They weren't a grunge band at all.
But they moved to San Diego and tried to come out of California. You say STP? Yeah. They moved down to San Diego.
STP was not an Atlanta band.
I thought they were from Atlanta.
No, Seven Dust isn't.
Seven Dust, definitely.
Everybody knows Seven Dust.
Yeah.
Well, no, hold on for a second.
They moved to Orlando though for a minute there.
So Orlando claims Seven Dust. They came from Atlanta, but Collective Soul.
DeJohn carries that Atlanta flag hard, buddy.
Collective Soul, total Atlanta. You know, they are Atlanta.
Certainly.
You know, so yeah.
Why do I think Stone Temple Pilots was from Atlanta? Why do I like that's been embedded in my brain for 30 years almost? That's weird to me. I don't know.
They didn't want to be from LA. I remember seeing an interview. So they moved down to San Diego, so they didn't have to sort of claim Los Angeles, even though I'm sure that the shit was recorded there. But, you know, I mean, I think, you know, the DeLeo brothers, I mean, I think Robert lives up in like San Luis Obispo at this point. I mean, they're California, a couple of them at least. I don't know about Eric Kratz, but
maybe there's a different band I'm thinking of, and I group them into that, you know. But and Bush wasn't. They were from what is that?
England.
Oh yeah, he's glass. Isn't he from Gavin's from Glasgow?
What was that?
Scotland?
What
Glasgow's in Scotland.
So what are you asking me?
When I said Bush, you made some sound. What was that sound?
He loves Bush.
You know I do too. You know, my son Gavin. He's named after Gavin.
Gavin Rossdale is okay. So Bret Michaels is the prototype rock star. Performance on off stage, no doubt. Gavin Rossdale is the prototype to the prototype of a rock star. And this is the only time in the history, 30 years of my career, that I have marked out, not once, not twice, but 3 times, because to be in Gavin Rossdale's presence, he's not trying to be intimidating. He's extremely humble. He's the sweetest man. He walks into a room. He is a rock star. He speaks. He's sexy. He's cool. He's calm. He's in control. Carries the dog's dead now, but he's got the new dog. I mean, dude, everything about the guy is rock star. There is not another soul that I've ever met who's been more rock star than Gavin Rossdale. So absolute rock star. Am I right?
The first day I ever met Gavin was during Rock of Love. And he was everything you just said. He was so calm and cool and collective that it's fascinating, to be honest with you.
Right.
But he walked up and he goes, in that British accent. I'm not an accent guy, but he goes, hey, what he said, mate? Hey, mate.
Yeah.
Does Brett really kiss all them girls all day long? That's what he said. Does Brett really kiss them girls all day long? Because of the way the TV show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why was he there?
He kissed all of them. I'm pretty sure he did other things too.
Yeah. I went to see him. I went to a Gavin Rossdale solo show.
Oh, okay.
And his tour manager, Mark Woodcock, who's now Def Leppard's tour manager, is a friend of mine and managed to connect us.
Dude, that guy, one of my biggest mistakes too in my career was Gavin Rossdale. He had walked in the studio. He wasn't supposed to be there for me. He was down the hall and he walks in this is when I was doing talk radio. He walks into the middle of the segment, and I've always considered myself a good interviewer, right? And I just screwed this one up, and it stuck with me for forever. And he walks in and the TV's on, and Adam from the Beastie Boys dies. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Gavin about the music, and I'm trying to be music-y and all that stuff. And he's just staring at the TV and he goes, man, God, what a guy. Not even thinking that they had a relationship. And then he just kind of lets out in mid-conversation that when he first came to the States, he came to LA, and that was his first friend. He lived on his couch. And I didn't explore it in the interview.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Because I knew I only had a certain amount of time, and I'm sitting there. It was the worst. I was the worst interviewer in
You were the worst.
It's just so bad. Like, how do you not let it go there? No one else would be having that conversation on the air. Bad radio DJ. And it stuck with me. And then I interviewed him. I saw him years later backstage, and I mentioned it. He obviously didn't know or remember. And then I interviewed him again. I brought it up again and tried to redeem myself. I said something else stupid. I just think that I'm gay for Gavin Rossdale. Like, it is.
That's for sure. That is for sure. Bret Michaels too. I mean, they're on your gay meter, way up on the fucking gay meter.
Way up.
I'm talking about top list.
I will not disagree with you on that. I agree wholeheartedly.
Brad, I gotta ask Brad again. I'm so sorry I'm bringing it to cover band level stuff, if that's a problem, but just because he's from Jacksonville, and I think about my childhood and my history playing up and down the coast. Did you
Big Engine?
What's that?
Are you saying Big Engine?
No.
Okay.
Did you ever play over in Georgia in St. Simon's Island?
No, I don't think so, man.
Yeah,
what was the venue there?
It was called Island Rock, and it was this independent owned bar that this guy was trying really hard to make a hard rock, but on his own. Like he would go around and go and purchase, rock memorabilia that all of it have. Like, he had a guitar that he thought was Eddie Van Halen's, and I remember I was like, I think you were had, buddy.
Yeah, you got to do your research on shit like that. I need some paperwork, right?
Yeah,
got to back that up with paperwork.
It was a cool bar, and I remember it was not far. St. Simon's Island was only about 90 minutes maybe from Jacksonville, so I just didn't know if you had ever been.
Man, it's not far. And when I was doing regional stuff, we never went up there. We went into Georgia, but it was never St. Simon's Island. But yeah, it was, there was enough bars around here to keep us pretty busy in smaller spots, whenever we branch out, it was like, why do we do that again? No one's here. It's kind of weird. We could have at least play to our friends in Jacksonville or Jack's Beach, because
exactly.
Jacksonville Beach, there was a lot more metal going on down in Jacksonville Beach, a lot of heavier
Florida
stuff.
Was the last, if you ask me, Florida was the last 80s rock stronghold. They held onto that down there in the clubs and the bands playing it.
Yeah,
definitely, man.
All of us up here in Virginia migrated down there because you could still play that stuff down there. Up here, like I said, when Dave Matthews hit the scene, if you played a Bon Jovi song overnight, you were like, oh, don't even finish your set, just go out the back door. And it was quick here.
Wow. I mean? Well, Florida too, like down in Tampa for a while, that was like the death metal capital.
Yeah.
For a while there, man. The real full on, it was like my aunt and uncle lived down there. They're like, are you into death metal at all? They're like, that is like, you think you're somewhere in Europe because there's so many death metal, like you're in Sweden or somewhere, but I was like, man, I never really got too far into that scene, but I just remember it being like a thing. Like it was the Seattle of death metal down in Tampa.
You want to know a band that came from Tampa that probably only if you live in or have lived in Tampa know was the band Savatage.
Oh, did they come from Tampa?
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with what Savatage became, Al and Trans-Siberian Orchestra,
right?
I mean, that's they run the show, kind of thing. It's pretty badass. Like, Atlanta, not known for punk rock, but have a conversation with William Duvall, the now lead singer of Alice in Chains. His background is actually punk rock. And I had lunch with him one time and he told me a story that blew my mind. You're talking about in the South, punk rock, black guy. And the last show that ever took place, he was there, and I forget the venue, and it was a riot, a racial riot.
Oh boy.
And that's what moved on. But Atlanta in the early 80s, and I didn't know this, was known for its punk rock scene.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that, but I will tell you, if I've ever brought this up to you, Atlanta gave us Sean Mullins.
Sean Mullins, yeah, he's very well liked in Atlanta. I can tell you that.
He's very well liked in this house right here. He again,
man, the Rockabye song hurts my feelings, though, dude.
Why is that?
I hate that song.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It comes on. I'm like, how did this fucking happen? How did this happen, man? I just don't get it, dude. It was the cheesiest fucking song I think I fucking ever heard, right? But I mean, if he's your bro, I'm sorry, but that one hurts my feelings. It just strikes a nerve of where I just want to break something.
Have you ever listened to the rest of the stuff, though?
No, I haven't. And it's a shame that song, I feel like, was a representation of him, because I've heard snippets and shit, but I'm just saying, like, man, it comes on and I got to break shit.
He is, he's one of Edwin's good friends, McCain's good friends. And that song's a polished pop song. And I like that song, but he's a balladeer. And with him and just an acoustic guitar, he has 10, 15 storytelling songs that just blow your fucking mind if you're into that kind of thing. And it's not like Rockabye. It's not. I hear what you're saying about Rockabye.
Dude, it's like, man, it's like nails on a chalkboard, man. But you could hear that the guy's got something, he's got a voice in it, and he's able to tell the story, and it's compelling. Yeah. But the story is what it's just like, oh man, I don't know why. But Edwin McCain, that guy's he's a fucking great songwriter. All those.
I do this to myself all the time about Edwin. I just have to say this. I've done this 6 or 7 times in my life. Have you ever heard Edwin sing in person?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't, but he would come to the Freebird down in Jack's Beach a lot and pack the place, dude. And people would be just sitting there like in Indian style. I've
seen him in concert a lot. He was like a house band for the House of Blues in Orlando for years.
And Myrtle Beach. He was always, but anyway, he'll just talk to you and give you chills, his voice. Yeah. Right? And I play solo acoustic shows in the Greenville, South Carolina all the fucking time. Mm-hmm. And he comes out. And I've been doing this I've done it like 6 times over 20 years. I invite him up to sing. I shouldn't fucking do that. Because
why?
He steals the show, probably, right?
His voice is this fucking big and mine's this big. And I think I'm doing great. And then he does it. I should just let him do the last song and be done. Yeah. But I always pull him up in the middle, and then he walks off the stage, and then I have to follow that. And it is the most fucking soul-sucking, defeating feeling I ever. And I do it to myself over and over again because I'm such a fan that I'm so excited that he'll get up and sing with me. You know what I mean?
Lesson learned, Pete. Lesson learned.
Well, I know, because I love him. This is Boba, by the way.
Oh, sweet baby. Mine's over on the couch, crashed.
I want to wrap this up, but before I do, there's been talk, and I don't think Brad knows, but Pete, you might. There's been talk about some of these upcoming Bret Michaels band party gras tours that Saliva would be a part of. Do you know anything about this, Pete?
How do I say that?
Yes, no.
we have a lot of conversations, and we throw a lot of names out. And to Bret, it's about songs. You know that it's about songs, and he is as much a fan as I am of those Saliva songs. And it comes up. I mean, sometimes Brett's 63, I'm 53, and sometimes we'll be driving through the desert between Arizona and California, not as buddies, and out of nowhere he'll just start singing "Click Click Boom" like he's a kid. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Really?
And we've certainly talked about trying to do something with some more energy than some of the stuff we've done in the past. So, I without a doubt, that name always pops up. Always pops up.
So
That's good to know.
Yeah, the other rumor I've heard is that you guys were looking for a 50-year-old, 6'3", 217-pound white guy to go out on the road with the Bret Michaels band on this Party Gras tour and host every night.
We did. We hired Eddie Trunk.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I've never took a dig at you on your
I said 216 pounds, not 260 pounds.
Oh man.
And
the hits keep coming.
There's a big difference.
I do know that Bret has talked about regionally, not one night, but multiple nights, hiring DJ hosts. That's a true story.
I was joking.
We did that last year in New York with a DJ buddy of ours, Big Papa, to test the waters on that. There's always every idea you could have, we throw out there, and Bret is always trying to regionalize it. You know that he likes to include the local community and things he does. So to bring you out as part of the show in everything in Florida would not be outside the scope of things we've talked about.
Wow, look at that.
There you go. You just maybe have yourself a gig there.
I was going to say, congratulations. You might have yourself a gig there.
Yeah, man. Hey, maybe we'll be joining you. Man, we'll have this big fucking party, man.
Well, one way or the other, we're going to the St. Augustine show is the one that is between you and me, Brad. So Jacksonville, Orlando, that's, unless Saliva's out on the road, out on tour.
What are you guys going to do this year?
That was been talked about too. I mean, there was talk about a February, March run, but I'm seeing people that are touring in February, March, like Blackberry Smoke. They're announcing their February dates and March dates, and I'm like, all right, maybe we're not doing February, March. We changed managers, we changed booking agents again. So it'll be the third one, I think, for this year. I don't know so David Shapiro passed in the plane crash earlier from Sound Talent, and his assistant was Ian was actually our guy there at Sound Talent. And when that happened, it was tragic and devastating, of course, but it felt like we didn't have what we needed there anymore either. So we moved back to TKO for like the third time. And then now that's run its course. So now we're with IAG.
Are you? That's great.
Yeah. So that's good. But there was talk of some supporting certain people that we were like,
that have already announced their tour.
That have either already announced the tour or yeah. So I was going like, okay, I get. Isn't it almost just like almost Thanksgiving, right? Like you got to start promoting this shit. What are we on? So I don't typically deal with the agent. I usually the bass player is the last to know. So sometimes people tell me, hey, man, can't wait to see you playing with whoever, whatever. I'm like,
yeah, right.
Cool, we are. Fuck, awesome. Great. So
it's 2026 is a strange year already going to be. It's proving to be. It's a lot like you're saying. There's a little bit of mystery on, hey, what's going on? For a lot of bands? What are we going to do? Right. There's a lot of that right now because the industry and the economy and the it's a strange time. I don't know how that government shutdown's affecting you guys, but it's fucked us on every level here in DC.
Well, Jacksonville's a military town, and definitely there's some you can kind of feel it, and especially when we're flying, like we literally stopped our run almost right when it happened. Yeah. So we were in Houston, and I was like, man, if I don't get home, I'm gonna be pretty upset. But I mean, as far as for next year, thankfully we have anchor dates. We're doing the Danny Wimmer festivals. We're already on Sonic Temple, right. And those big shows. So I have to imagine there's going to be routed tours, bus touring around those at least. I mean, pre-COVID, we were doing about 140 shows a year, 150 shows a year. COVID hit, that turned to like 50 shows a year. And we've been steadily kind of ratcheting it up, year after year after that. But I mean, I want to say this year, we probably maybe did 80 shows.
Right.
So, for me, that's not really enough, but sure. What I'm saying? It just,
How many shows do you do at Bret a year, Pete?
And there's been years where we've done 200 shows. Last year, I think we did about 80 or something.
Brad's salivating. Like, oh,
yeah,
that's a lot of shows at our age. That's a lot. I mean, like when the Shinedown days, I'm late 20s. Let's fucking go all day. Yeah, 400. How many you got? But then now it's like
when I was
hurt a little bit more.
When I was 20 to 25, just on the road with myself in a van, I could do literally one year. My band Evick did do like 302 shows. But some of that was like 2 shows a day. I would, when you're out there doing anything you can, I would play. Some guy would have a private party, and I would do that, and then I would go to the bar that night, and But I can't do. I'd probably die now.
That's a lot these days. Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Is Sebastian playing that white Les Paul of his dad's out there?
He has it out there. Lately, he's been playing, I think it's a gold top lately, man. But it's funny because he'll break out some of his dad's clothes. At least he used to. He's kind of now, we went, when we were in Phoenix, we went by the Warren Star. I don't know if you're familiar with Warren Star. He's like, man, I've been needing to buy clothes. Like, I got to, I think he's not trying to fit in with the band, but we always typically all wear like black. And he's like, sometimes he's got some hippie shit and some 80s looking shit that was his dad's. And we're like, hey man, at least you stand out from the rest of it. It's kind of hard to miss you on stage. And he looks good in it, of course. But he'll bring out those old guitars. And in fact, he's like, man, I got a ton of gear that I'm having to sort of just move around Nashville. That was his dad's gear because now these days, a lot of guitar players, he's got the quad Cortex. There's no amps. There's no cabinets on stage. I'm like the last holdout, dude. I got an 810 and I got my Ampeg fucking SVT 2 non-pro because I like to have the sound on the stage, man. I just don't like it in my ears by itself, especially for bass.
Well, that's funny you say that. Even though I'm a guitar player, the bottom end is what makes me feel like it's a show, right?
Me too.
And I would rather stab myself than be in a band with a bass player that's going direct and using just side fills. There's nothing you can't. You can't shake the fucking earth out of some wedges and side fills or your fucking ears. You can't.
Nope.
So I'm with you on that. I don't go direct. I still use a cabinet, but I can go direct with a guitar and deal with it and make it sound all right in the side fills. But there's nothing that an SVT 810 you shouldn't be allowed to play music without it.
And bass, it's not an offensive frequency anyway. Like the frequency range, it's not like cymbals going off. You can, in my head, there's never enough bass. You can always turn the bass up if you ask me. Then you don't have to have the tops as hot because you got what I'm saying. You don't have to push it as hard. But
I just want to go back for a second to that white Les Paul.
Okay. I didn't mean to run over that one. Yes.
No. Dude,
Jeff LaBar, fucking legend, man.
Again, he was such an incredible friend to me. When I joined Bret's band, he was the first guy of all my heroes that welcomed me, supported me. He met me. Hey, you're the new guy in town. I always tell the story. We played in Atlanta, or we played in Nashville at the Wild Horse, and we weren't that close of friends yet. And he stood in the front row, right in the front fucking row. Everybody there knew who he was and was just chanting my name. And he was such a supportive guy. But that white Les Paul, I saw that guitar the very first time I ever saw Cinderella in 1986, opening up for Bon Jovi on the Slippery When Wet tour. And that was the first time that I ever saw that white guitar. And when I see his son playing that, like, that is a piece of
history, man. It's royalty. It is, man.
Was that played on Long Cold Winter?
It was played on Night Songs. He played it on the very first tour they ever did was with Bon Jovi. The second year I saw him playing that guitar on the Yankee Rose, the Dave Lee Roth Eat 'Em and Smile tour. Two of the biggest, Slippery and Wet and Eat 'Em and Smile, are two of the most iconic rock and roll tours of the 80s there ever was. And I remember as a kid just staring at that white Les Paul. And so it's cool to me to even just talk to someone that is in the presence of that guitar sometimes.
Yeah, man. We have nothing but love and respect for the LaBar family, and it's just, of course, Sebastian's been, Sebastian would he would fill in for Wayne sometimes. And so Wayne, there was a couple guys that Wayne loved that we felt, Josh Kulak is another, he stayed right on my side. He would fill in for Wayne too when Wayne couldn't, sometimes there was some issues. And so whenever Wayne passed and it was decided and we talked to Wayne's family and of course we grieved and, we went through the whole process of because we didn't know if we were going to keep going, but as you know, the band, we shouldered on and it's what Wayne wanted us to do, but we were still wanted approval from the family. But he ended up, so bringing Sebastian in and Josh in, they were approved by Wayne. So we felt good about it. And Wayne actually got to hang with Jeff LaBar before Jeff passed, because Jeff passed first. And Jeff was showing him how to do the guitar, the flip. Guitar flip. So here you have Wayne out there, and he was kind of a gangly dude. He's tall, big guy. And you have Jeff out there, and they're throwing guitars around their necks, and Wayne got it though pretty quick. It was just kind of cool, and then Sebastian of course has stories about his dad, and it was pretty sad for him to go through that, with his dad passing and stuff, because he knew his dad was having issues, but then it just kind of just happened, and and then Wayne literally, I think the next year or maybe it was they were just hanging out together. I saw this, and now they're both gone, dude. So it was fucked up, man. Yeah.
So real quick, I know Jason, you got to go, but I never ever do this. I don't know if this is in tune. Probably not. But do you hear that, Brad?
Oh yeah, Survival of the Sickest.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, I'm a real fucking Saliva fan.
Fucking A, dude. That's badass. I love the effects.
I'm a smile on every criminal you
never quit. Yeah.
I have covered that
love
song.
That shit.
When that song came out, it went right into my list with my cover band Evick, and I played acoustic sometimes and stuff. I actually have a video of me and Josie doing it together, but that's my proof to you that I'm a real fucking Saliva fan.
Love it, man. Yeah, we'll
Brad.
It's
Brad,
in this. Yeah, okay.
It's your turn to get the bass and play Nothing But a Good Time. So, go.
Man, can we do that one next week?
Yeah, next time.
It's fucking
I know you got to wrap it up, man. Guys, thanks for having me on. I hope you guys had a good time. What a great time.
Yeah, brother. It's always good to hear from you and see you. Where do you want to send people for? Well, shiningsoul.com, right, for the candles, which, by the way, holiday season coming up, you're looking for a prize. I've got a ton of these candles, so they're absolutely amazing and they're long lasting. Like, I'm a candle snob, right? So you got to get good candles. Pete does good candles. But as far as the merch, where do you want them to go?
First, I want to say you're a candle snob and gay for Gavin Rosdale. You're not selling your manhood very well on this.
There's something you're not telling us here.
I'm trying to put over your candles. I'm trying to put your candles over. Gavin's thing is a personal thing. Okay, we'll put that aside.
I make those candles, and I named my son after Gavin. I'm not far after you, buddy.
We can double date.
So the thing I've been doing now is the Pete's merch shop, and again, it's just it's anything and everything. Any idea I have that I'm able to generate the art for now, I either put it on T-shirts or right now the giant hit that I've had are Christmas ornaments. I have these little $10 Christmas ornaments. I did the big hit is I did a bunch of dogs, and a bunch of people that have different breeds of dogs have been buying this Christmas ornament with their dogs on it, and a bunch of fun different 80s sayings and a bunch of different kind of snarky things. But it's at petesmerchshop.com. That's all it is, petesmerchshop.com. And they're cool little gifts. If anyone's Christmas shopping, you can find something on that site that is rock and roll related or kind of fun and edgy.
I think we need to consolidate your websites. You've got too many. You've got Evick.com, you got Shining Soul, you got Pete's Merch Shop. I think we need to get a web designer to give you a call and consolidate and just do.
I just registered gayforgavin.com too.
But I know you didn't get it because I've owned it for 5 years now.
It's Gay for Gavin official is what you got now.
I'm the real Gay for Gavin. Okay.
Yeah, the OG Gay for Gavin.
There you go.
All right. Everything Saliva, saliva.com, of course, social media. You want to continue to follow the Vinyl Road Podcast. We have the own Instagram at the Vinyl Road Podcast. There's merch up on jasonbailey.com. Remember, me personally do 3 different shows 5 days a week outside of this. So Monday through Friday, with Tuesday and Thursdays being sub episodes. If that interests you and would like to help pay my power bill, jasonbailey.com, and you can subscribe. Mucho apreciado. That's Latin for thanks, dude. So if you get that. All right. Anything, Brad, you got anything before we go?
Pete, man, so good to meet you, brother.
Awesome.
We could do this for hours. You know,
Right.
You're
Yeah.
welcome to come on anytime and hang out with us, man. And hopefully we see you down in St. Augustine, man, at dailies. But just want to say thanks to the Vinyl Roadies and everyone that tunes into the show. And I don't think we glitched the show.
No.
I don't, because usually now I move my router. So this has been an issue here. So I moved my router, but I am looking into going IQ fiber. So that will never hopefully ever happen again. But as far as today, whatever happened today,
you're good.
Fucking A. Anyhow, y'all be good and be good to each other, man. We'll see y'all out there on the road somewhere.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thanks for listening. Appreciate the support. Look, if you're going to be doing some drinking, I understand. I get it. If you've had too much, please don't get behind the wheel of a car. I've lost way too many friends like that. And sure as shit, don't be posting stuff on social media or you will lose friends like that. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I think we should do a podcast about rock and roll. I got some stories.
That's it for this episode. Check out jasonbailey.com for more shows. Until next time.
3 different shows, 5 days a week, 1 feed, details, and to subscribe, jasonbailey.com.